Welcome to that spiritual, actual, factual answers to questions you're asking. You find them inside you, recite you, reciting the records of cash. We laughing, we drafting the passion to vary. It's time for that comedy, dramedy, all of the fanciest, catchiest acronyms. Listeners, listen, we traveling. Conscious is always unraveling. The reading you're having is mapping you back to your natural habitat. Abracadabra, it's magicless, passing it. To top it off, the host are the classiest. Now, what were you asking for? All of the answers? What? All the answers.
But I don't want you to tell me yet because I want to record it.
It's not even worth it.
Never think it is, but it always is.
We'll see.
You're like, no, it's really not.
Well, now it's really been built up as being anything at all.
Nobody cares but you.
Nobody cares but me. Let me record again here. Bakook.
I'm just going to let it be fucked up. That's what she said. It's never old. That's never old.
No, it keeps going.
In my little 17-year-old boy brain.
Recently, we were talking about something not at all sexual, and there wasn't even a sexual joke made. And then someone said that's what she said, correctly, because someone was like, did we find out if it was the cat? Yeah, that's what she said. And and then it was like, I started to giggle at that being an implication. It was funny.
Was that the story you were going to tell that you were like, this isn't a story?
Yeah, no, my other story's even less.
Let's hear it. I'm ready.
Right before we came on just now, I was humming the McDonald's ditty that goes, ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. I guess I mumble that a lot, and I was working with some people, and we were heading out the door to go to lunch, and it was actually Sammy Wiegand, who you know.
Sammers.
And I can't remember who else it was. Stacy, I think, from Spaceless. You've met her maybe in part of what doesn't matter. She was, at the moment this happened, was saying something to Sammy about some shit she was going through. There was something like serious happening for a moment, just in them, and they were standing in the doorway. And I wasn't really aware of the conversation they were having. I just knew we were headed out the door. So I walked between them. And I was on my phone, like thumbing through something on my phone. And right as I walked between them, I just went, ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And they were having like a serious talk.
Yeah, she was like, my cat is sick and dying or something, real was happening. And I just went, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And like was paging around on my phone right at that perfect moment. And
I really hate you if I'm her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually Sammy. Then for relentlessly from that moment on, Sammy was just like, Jesus Christ, like he could not get over how insensitive and perfect that song was to be the most insensitive moment. And that's all.
That's fun. Right.
That's the story.
Well, no, that is a story. What I like about it is it's not just any random song that's the most insensitive song. It's like the most disgusting food in the world theme song.
Yeah.
Disgusting, but delicious and not good for you. Empty, vacuous.
And also, it's a perfect ditty for that sort of mindless blah, 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 blah. And it was, I think I even did it with my lips a little bit. So it was more like I was being almost sarcastic. Blah, 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 like, your problems don't matter.
I'm a walking chicken.
So that's what that happened. And now every time I see Sammy, I think that song.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And probably the same is true for him. I kind of feel like it became a thing between us. And we don't see each other that often, so.
Well, here's some news over here.
Do it.
I am officially a pro team member of the improv troupe here.
Woohoo! Does that mean you're getting paid?
You know what's funny? This is how badly I wanted to do it. I don't even know.
You don't know. I understand. I've never gotten paid to do improv.
I mean, it's a house team.
Except for when we produced that show and made a little money and got a couple of bucks back.
I mean, they own the theater. Everyone in the team moved, not everyone, 5 people moved together from Seattle to do this here. So somebody's making money. I don't know. I'd get probably not, but that's how bad I wanted to do it. It's like, I don't care. This is my thing I want to do.
That's great.
But I've never, ever, you know me, been like, what is there money? I don't know. Whatever. Never.
Right.
I'm like, how much money is it? When does that start? How do you pay me? In what form does it come?
Right. I've also never known you to be someone who is like, hey, I want to join this crew of young, wacky make-em-ups.
They're not young.
Oh, okay.
They're like middle 30s and up, and they're all like seasoned improvisers.
Great.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel like annoying young dudes.
Do they wear plaid and or Converse?
Absolutely not.
And do they run out at the beginning of the show clapping
No.
or doing a dance?
No. But here's one thing they do that sucks.
That you're going to slowly wean them of.
Yes, is they do this. I'm guessing this is a comedy sports remnant where whoever the host is, the host is like, okay, here's what improv is, and we need suggestions, and let's practice. And they make the audience like say a lot of fucking shit. And the intro's way too fucking long. But anyway, they go, players, are you ready? And then the players are supposed to go, yes.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of when I worked in kitchens and the chef would say, like, staff, are you ready? We, chef. I fucking hate it. And I plan to never respond.
You should start calling out corner whenever you're entering the scene.
Or behind.
Or behind, corner.
Behind, corner. Yeah.
On your left.
On your left. That's good. That's good. Behind is my favorite. It's the most pretentious, I feel like.
Yeah.
Behind. Like I'm too busy to say a full sentence. Behind. So they do that, and I hate it. But they do funny, solid improv, so who cares?
Was it at Capitol Stage where they always say curtain when they're going through the curtain?
Yes.
I feel like that's a practice that happens there. Every time you go through the curtain, so you don't punch someone.
Yep. I so internalized that I do that every time I walk through a curtain. It'll come out of my face, and I'll be like, nobody knows what that is. I look around and go,
and nobody's even near me.
And nobody cares. Yeah. But it's such a smart practice. There were so many times in that theater in particular where I would come barreling through the curtain and smack into somebody coming from the other direction.
Yeah.
It happened. So it's like a really practical. I thought it was very practical. Curtain. It's also lame, but I like it. Theater lame stuff. So that's an update. I'm very excited. My first rehearsal is tonight. My first show is next Wednesday. And then I have like 12 shows this month.
Some of my best shows were like when I subbed in for an improv troupe and I went to like maybe one rehearsal. And I just, you just come in, they're like, what are the rules? Great. How do we play it? Cool.
Exactly.
I'm going to come in here and destroy you. And not that it's a competition, but I've done that a few times where I came in and just like mopped up the floor with the rest of the improvisers and felt kind of bad about it.
I'll tell you the truth. These guys, honestly, truly, you're going to be impressed.
I can't wait.
You're going to be surprised and impressed. They're not like goofadoop fuckwads. They're like, oh shit, you guys are fucking smart.
The goofadoop fuckwads.
You know what I'm saying, though?
I do. And are you guys playing like short, long, scene, Harold, fuckboy?
I'm waiting till you're done making a list. Are you done making a list?
Are you doing the fuckboy form? The form called fuckboy?
Yeah, it's actually called boy fuck in Florida.
Oh, right. Yeah, they do everything a little backwards down there.
Boy fuck, yeah.
I mean, Florida does look like a dick and balls just hanging out.
Yeah, it sure does. It's the profile of a dick and balls.
Yep, just a droopy one, but big, like a pretty significant.
Oh, yeah. When that thing goes up, it's for real.
It may be a shower, not a grower.
Okay. It's like it's already at full mast when it's not at full mast.
It's at full length. It just gets
firm.
Like I'm not huge, but I get big. Did you need to know that? Do you wish you didn't know that?
So you're a grower, not a shower.
I'm a grower, not a shower.
Okay. Oh, God.
At least that's what I tell myself.
I'm uncomfortable.
Mom, you listening?
So they're good at improv. What the fuck were we talking about? Florida is a dick and balls.
I stopped listening. I was asking you what form you do.
Oh, they do. So right now their attitude is, I think they've been open 3 months. So they're like, we're teaching the audiences what improv is. So they're playing a lot of games. But 1 or 2 shows have long form, and then they're going to do long form more and more. But right now they're like, here's what games are. Here's what scenes are.
I like a good hybrid. I like doing a couple games and then a couple of, maybe they're game-ish, but they're longer in their format. That's sort of what we always did as the different groups whose names I've forgotten, including ours.
You do not forget ours.
Brown, Rubin, and Shaw. The
law
all
offices
offices of Brown, Rubin, and
Rubin,
Shaw.
and Shaw.
Do you want to call it schlong form then?
Wow. No.
Well, you're in Florida, though.
It's too easy.
It's
Too easy. It's too easy. No. Let's get something better in
Do you want to call it mullet?
Huh.
Short in the front, long in the back? Which would be like you do a bunch of games at the top of the show and then a long form for the second half of the show. We could call that the mullet.
I got it when you said the word mullet.
But I had to explain it to everyone else.
Fair enough.
Now they probably got it too.
That improv. What else did I want to say about that? I'm very excited about it.
So you're enjoying it, you're kicking ass, and you haven't performed yet.
No.
Have you gone to one rehearsal?
No, it's tonight. I just said that.
Well, I didn't know. I know you said you had rehearsal. I didn't know if that was your first ever rehearsal.
Tonight's my first ever, but I've been to a lot of jams. So like a bunch of them know me because they've seen me be the one person in a jam who can improvise. So you look real good in that context. Now I have to look good with actual improvisers.
Katie, I want to remind you of a concept that we've done a lot on this program.
We don't judge other people.
No, judge. I want you to go in there
everyone
with like full judgment. No, but I want to just remind you to not get into the energy of proving.
Oh no, I shan't. I don't like the energy of proving.
I know you don't. You hate it, but
No, I wouldn't do that. But what I will do is.
But that is a danger of going into a first rehearsal with a bunch of people that you kind of admire.
Yeah, no. I want to just meet them where they are, do my best, and that's all you can do. Just meet them, be there, match, present, listen, create a scene. My concern is less that and more, my tendency would more be like to not be good at certain kinds of the games they have. Like they do a bunch of stuff that's about like remembering shit or stuff that's like, we do these, like there's a really fun gibberish game they play in their shows that I will be a great describer in and a terrible guesser of. So one person is going, it's and they're gesturing, but they're gesturing and explaining very specific shit that the audience has. So for example, if it's like the suggestion is he's playing tennis against Mario Lopez.
Right.
Okay, great. But the tennis racket isn't a racket. What is it? Oh, it's Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, we used to call that game, and we've changed the name at some point. It's called Willing Slave. And then we're like, let's not call it that anymore. But that was the idea, yeah.
People listening, the tennis floor isn't a floor, it's snot. And what's this called? The net isn't a net, it's consciousness. And so then you have all this abstract shit that people come on and describe in gibberish and explain what it is and what it isn't. These guys have that game dialed the fuck in a really funny way. I will never get any of it on the guessing end, so I'll never be a guesser, but I would love to be a describer.
Right.
But I think I'll be bad at it, but I'll have a blast. Like I won't help the person, but it'll be hilarious.
Exactly. And it can go on too long if you have no idea, and if you're just out. One of the moments on that game, or a similar game, I guess, that was so like, ha ha, for us in one of my old troops a long time ago, the original Action Pack. Oh God, I'm about to describe an improv scene, and that's never a good idea. But we had gotten something like doing backflips with a penguin off of a dirigible.
Oh my God.
But they had said the audience had given us dirigible.
Okay.
And so we went back and forth with them and we were like, is it okay if we say blimp?
Right.
Right. And they had kind of gone, yeah, okay, fine. It's a blimp. And then when we did the thing, Peter comes back in the room and we do the whole thing. We'd get it, finally we're up on the thing. And he goes, doing backflips with a penguin off a dirigible? And it was one of those moments where the audience just lost their mind. Like, how did he guess dirigible? You must have cheated. Oh my God. Yeah, I love that shit.
That's amazing. Okay, can I tell you a thing I'm experiencing betwixt us? Well, I'm feeling very proud and excited about this. And I'm perceiving that you are blowing it off a little and being like, yeah, all the teams I was on. Okay, good luck, nerdy theater stuff. And I'm like, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it. Like, I haven't done much either for 3 or 4 years. So like, A, that they wanted me feels really good. B, that I'm like kind of murdering it feels really good. C, I love improv.
Yeah.
I don't think it's dumb.
I hear that. I don't think it's dumb at all.
Okay.
I hear that. I was coming from, yeah, that sounds cool. You're reminding me of the excitement I had in the past.
Oh, that's good.
But I also get that I was, pulling it back to my story instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I just need a little I'm proud of you. You're doing great. Good for you. I've had a slow ass creative time for a long time.
Oh, girl. Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you landed in this place and it totally, I know you're still having a few struggles with the spot, but generally with Jacksonville, but I love that you found these people who are fucking yeah.
I don't feel very struggly with the spot.
Oh, good. Last week, we were both in struggle. We were on the struggle bus last week.
Oh, I just had a bad day. Yeah, I just had a bad day. And then I was globalizing. But yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And then I was globalizing.
But that's different from actually having a hard time with this. You know what I mean? Globalizing, this came up yesterday in a session with a client where she would say, I'd say, but what's happening for you today? And she'd go my back really hurts. And so nothing's ever going to work and I'll never make money and I don't have any friends. And I'd be like, okay, so let's come back. Let's work with the back thing. And then I made her back feel better. And she went okay, wow, that's great. Wow, thank you. And I said, now what? And she was like, well, my arm hurts, but my mom hates me and I have no friends and I have no grounding in this town. I'll be alone forever. And I was like, okay, let's bring it back. Let's go to the arm. So it's globalizing is when you globalize out into your life and you go, everything's terrible because it's too painful to actually face the thing you're facing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Somehow it's easier for our psyches to be everything's terrible. I should just kill myself than to go first the leg, then my mom, then the arm. You know what I mean?
I 100% know what you mean. Well, I think there's also the danger of making something, danger is the wrong word, but making something mean something and then that forces the globalization. It's oh, my back is out and that's the universe telling me that.
Yes, my God. Yes.
I mean, that's what I did with my back in the show. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and I felt last week when you were having a bad day, you did say some things about,
I did.
Oh, I'm having doubts about this place. Yeah. And so you globalized your bad day. Yeah. Yeah.
But I named that, I think, in the moment. I was like, no, I'm having a hard day and I'm just blowing it up to mean fuck this place and I got to get out of here. Which I thought was actually really cool because sometimes it's hard to see when you're globalizing. But I was like, I'm globalizing. I'm in it and I'm globalizing. So it didn't have any power over me because I was just like, this feels bad. I'm narrating that it's my whole life, but it isn't. When it's really confusing is when it takes you and you believe it.
Yes.
That's hard.
I feel like I have to tell people sometimes if I'm saying and of course I'll never work again. And I know that is not true. I am just needing to say that is what I'm thinking in my head, but it's true. And it does help to say it out loud and see how stupid it sounds or whatever. Oh, this means that I shouldn't have moved to Jacksonville.
Right.
And that's not true, but you got to say it just to say, because I know I'm thinking that.
Well, it's just, I was globalizing and naming what I was globalizing.
Yeah. I'm just saying it out.
There is no percentage of me that feels that way.
That's great.
And here's a trip. I'm debating if I bring this up. I'm going to say this between you and me, but I'm going to say right now, hey, Desmond, can we cut this out? I'm just going to, I'm going to tell you because I just started talking and it'd be weird to not tell you what that was. Now we're back. And I'll just say, I just told Cassidy a story about a thing I'm not ready to talk about publicly that occurred. And in response to the occurrence, this is the part I want to talk about. I did a bunch of EMDR with my little EMDR machine that I have.
Tell us what EMDR is.
So EMDR is the reconnecting of the two hemispheres of the brain. So when you have trauma, the two hemispheres of the brain are really separate, which is what creates a lot of black and white thinking. It's why trauma and black and white thinking are really intimately linked. So what you do with EMDR is you either do it with sound or sensation or visual stimuli. So if they do it with...
What does it stand for?
I don't remember. EI, rapid desensitization mobilization, something like that. EMI, movement desensitization and reorganization, something like that. So if you do it with your eyes, you're watching a light go back and forth, left, right, traveling kind of across a panel. and your eyes following that light are going left and right in your head. And what that's doing is reconnecting the two sides of the brain. But you do it while you're remembering a traumatic event or feeling a feeling that you hate or feeling a difficult feeling. Now, you could also do it I have it with a buzzing. You hold these two paddles in your hands that are small and they buzz. So it goes z, 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 left, right, left, right. And another way you can do it with sound is you can go beep, 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 beep with headphones and a left, right sound. So I have the buzzy kind that you hold in your hand. And I was just really angry at this person and for their inappropriate behavior. And I had this story I can tell. I had a fucking shit show of a dating experience that I'm excited to tell you about. I think here's my theory currently. I think you'll experience it very differently than how I experienced it. So we can tease all that apart. I could be wrong. We'll see. So mad at that person and then mad at this other mystery person we're not talking about. So this morning I was just holding my EMDR paddles and going like, fuck you, and fuck you, and just letting the rage come up in the belly. And then letting the two hemispheres of the brain zoot, 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 back and forth. And then, all of a sudden the rage is done and I'm calm and I'm like, what was I upset about again?
That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I love about EMDR. It's really intense and really fast. And it's very physical and emotional. It's not, it's just very in the body. So that happened. Pausing to see if you have any words before I tell you about the dating experience.
No, that sounds cool. I the only thing is I just fantasized about getting myself one because who doesn't love a magic button?
Oh my God. It's so cool. They're like, oh God, sorry. They're like $115 there's a professional website you get them on, theratapper.com. So you feel into the terrible memory or the traumatic event or the rage or the sadness, whatever's up for you, you feel into it and it buzzes and you just stay with the feeling and then it passes. But what it's also doing is it's reintegrating anything similar to that from the past in your nervous system. Pretty cool.
That is cool. All right, date.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't had a good Katie shit show date story for a little while. That was so insensitive of me, but so true.
Bad dates.
I'm just like, I feel really good about the majority of my life. Like my finances really work and I have friendships I like. And these days I'm feeling really like creatively fulfilled and excited about the future. And my sister and I are good friends and the weather's nice and my dog is cute. And dating sucks.
Oh.
But you know what's funny? What I do know, okay, let's acknowledge this and then I'll tell you the story. I'm not doing any weird shit. I'm not enacting any patterns. Like you could easily go, what am I doing to create? I'm very clear that that's not what's occurring. I'm going on dates and they haven't worked yet. The one thing I did have to learn there's a lesson in this one for sure. And I'll talk about it. Okay. Anyway, I'm just saying, I used to be someone who I was pulling in really toxic people just because I had so much toxic stuff. So now it's different. Now it's like, I'm just dating and I think dating is hard. Also, when you're older, let's be real. A lot of people are fucking married.
Yeah.
People are married off.
Yeah.
And so you're either going to date somebody younger who's dumb, talking of globalizing.
Or divorced.
Or I don't care about divorced unless they're just dicks.
Right. Unless the reason for the divorce is that they're a terrible person.
Right. I mean, then that's not about divorce. That's about terrible personness. So anyway, went on this date. I'm not going to give too much context because I don't want to out anybody, but went to dinner once, had a fun time. And I had the feeling of, I don't know, have you been through this where you're like, I think I'm into this person. I think we're buddies. We're probably buddies.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then, right? And then, it was kind of sexy. But he feels like my brother.
Yeah.
Back and forth like that. Okay?
Yeah.
On the first date. A lot of fun, a lot of laughing, good times. I'll put this way. At the end of the date, we did a second thing that made me feel less interested in them. I was like, ooh, nope. But I still wasn't sure. So, and then we done some texting after and we set up a second date to go eat food and then go see a show. I'll just say a show. So we go.
Not everything everywhere all at once.
Nope. We go to dinner. We have a nice time. There's a bit of a weird energy after dinner that I can't figure out what brought it on. I think it was because I said, like, I don't even want to get into it. Anyway, we get to this show, and then he says to me, now it's like a little tense between us. And I'm thinking it's because he's picking up on my kind of like, you're kind of my bro. Don't think we're dating energy. But it wasn't very strong coming from me, but I could see him probably being tuned into that maybe. So we sit down, still on a date, to watch this show. And he says, it was an outdoor sitting down experience. He says, see that girl over there? And I look over and I go, yeah. He goes, she liked me on Hinge. And I go, oh, okay. And then I was like, this is a weird thing to say to me right now, but all right. And I go, you're gonna like her back? Kind of joking. Like,
yeah,
we're on a date, but sure, we can talk about that. Because like, let's pause here. I could see myself, if things were going well on a second date, you might be like, that guy liked me on Hinge. Like, like as if to say, I'm here with you and that's more important. But this thing happened. Isn't that funny?
Right. It could be a shared observance. Like, oh my God, that's so funny that I'm seeing a person in public that I actually know on Hinge. And that is either buddy mode or intimate mode, but not middle mode.
Exactly. It's hard to know. So he says that and I'm a little like, I don't know what you're doing with that, but okay, I could, that's understandable. And I go, are you going to like her back? And he goes, I don't know yet. And I was like, all right, okay. All right. I get it. You're naming the thing that's happening between us, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And I kind of like was like, all right, I guess we're naming this now. I'm kind of sitting with that, but I wasn't quite ready to name it. So it was a little too soon. Anyway, then he goes inside to the building to pee, comes back out, makes a beeline for the girl who's directly to my right, about 6 feet to my right. And I hear him say, hey, are you here alone? And she goes, yeah. He goes, well, you should come sit over here. I have a seat next to me. And she says something I can't hear. And he's like, I have beers too. Do you want a beer? And he's like saying it in a flirty, cute, like, you don't sit by yourself. How are you? Nice to, what's your name? Like that. I can't hear the whole conversation, but eventually she stands up and comes over and sits to his left. So now it's her and then him and then me.
Does he say, this is my friend Katie?
Nope. He turns to her and just starts talking to her, gives her a beer. They're chit-chatting. And I am now staring straight ahead, angry. And
this guy's a sociopath. Nope. I think I'm experiencing it the same way you did.
Thank you. So I was upset. And even though it doesn't, from my perspective, it doesn't matter that this was are we friends, are we dating scenario. You don't start a second date on the fucking date you're on.
You don't even do that to your friend.
Right? Without
going, hey, you know what? I think I'd like to follow through. Hey, you don't do that to your friend. You guys were not friends yet.
Right.
You were still in negotiative date mode. Put your dick away for 5 minutes. You're probably not going to get any action tonight, buddy, and that's okay.
Right.
Finish what you started.
Yep.
Fucking have a mature moment of like, hey, this was fun. That's insane.
Thank you.
I can't even.
I'm not even done.
Go, Jesus, go.
No, but thank you. It was fucked up.
I can't frame where the process is unless it's literal cruelty.
Okay, I'll tell you. I asked him. Here's what happened. So she's sitting there, they're chit-chatting, and I'm like, okay, I'm fucking out of here. The problem is he drove us. So the show starts. Now there's people doing show things in front of us, and we're outside, right? I am there for a business reason, so I go inside the house for a second. I go, I'll be right back. I go inside the house. I do my business thing with the people producing this thing. I had to talk to them about a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, cool, checked my business box off. Came back, and I sit next to him. He's still chit-chatting with her. I order a Lyft on my car, and then I just wait. And I'm seething. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And the Lyft is on the way. So I wait till it's about 2 minutes away, and I tap him on the shoulder, and I go, hey, so I'm going to head out. There's a show happening, so we can't talk at normal volume. He goes, what? I go, yeah, I'm going to head out. He's like, what do you mean? I go, I'm going to go. I got a Lyft. It's okay. Hey, have a really good night. remember I told you I'm a little weird. Sometimes I leave things early, which I had told him that at dinner, which I had said, like, we should take 2 cars because I'm always a grandma and I'm always like, it's 8:30, I'm going home. But he had sort of insisted I drive with him. So I said, this is that thing I told you about. I'm just like done for the night. So like, have a great time. I'm going to head out. He was like, but why are you leaving so early? And I said, I'm all set. Then I had my dog with me, picked her up, walked out of the thing, through the crowd, only person leaving. My lift was there. I got in the lift and I went back to my car, leaving voice memos for several female friends being like, okay, so here's what happened. I get home and he calls me. Okay. And I debate not answering because I'm just, Anyway, I pick up the phone. Hello? And he starts to chit chat. That was fun. How was that for you? I go, fine. And he's like, chit chat. And I go, do you have a reason for this call? And he goes, okay, listen, I hope it was obvious. I wasn't like flirting with that girl or anything. And I go, well, it really seemed like you were to me. And he goes, okay, I had a feeling when you left that this is what that was about. And I was like, uh-huh. And then he goes, that was not my intention at all. I am not a douchebag. And I was like, uh-huh. And I go, what was your intention? And he says, when I came out of the bathroom, I just saw her there alone. And I thought we should invite her over to like be part of the evening.
We did not invite her.
Then that's what I said. No, you didn't think we should invite her. You thought you should invite her because there might be a chance you could get together with her or get her number, which means inherently you thought nothing of me and how that might make me feel on a date with you. And then I said, I want to acknowledge, I understand there have been some mixed message vibes here that you and I have been like, what are we? Are we going to go on dates? Are we going to be friends? And you've been probably picking that up from me. And he goes, yep, I have. And I said, that's very understandable. Even still, we have not talked about it. We had not landed together on anything. So to invite another female to sit next to you and then chit chat with her and not talk to me about it and then have a beer with her feels to me like you were trying to make a statement that felt real fucking shitty. So if you wanted to make me feel bad, you succeeded. And he's like, no, she was just looked lonely. And I just thought, he's like, but I see your perspective and I understand your perspective. And I guess I have some work to do on this area. I was like, yeah. Then he says, I hope you'll be like, you have a little grace with me and this won't ruin our whole relationship. And I was like, I don't know. I'm real mad right now. So I got to go. I need you to let me be mad and I'll let you know what I land on. And then a few minutes later, he texted me. He said, I know you had to go and I want to respect that, but I'm confused about a couple things. Are you open to discussing? And I knew exactly what he was going to do. He was going to bring up examples of how I was like giving him friend vibes. So I go, sure. So he calls me and he's like, so here's where I'm at. I'm just because when you said this, it felt like bro vibes. And when you said this, and I said, person's name, I already acknowledged with you that we had some bro vibes. That does not change the fact that we were out alone at nighttime, man, woman, flirting with each other regularly. And you invited another woman into that date and then just didn't introduce me to her. It felt shitty.
And sounds like he ignored you too after that. Like he was pretty much just talking to her.
He tried to like engage with me a little bit after that in a jokey way. And I was so, to his credit, but I was so pissed off that I was like, uh-huh. And I just couldn't. I was just like, I'm either going to tell him the truth or I got to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So I just wasn't in a place to like, now we're all friends. And it was so weird. It was so fucking weird. So after the second phone conversation, I was like, all right, I'm now more angry. I've heard your point of view. You've heard mine. We disagree. I think you kind of understand what I'm saying. Either way, I'm all set. I'm angry. I'm not going to say anything useful now. So I need you to go like, let me be angry now. And I'll be in touch when I'm ready. Or
not.
If I'm ready. Yeah. And that was that.
Yeah, not worth it. I don't feel like there's no friendship to salvage there because he's not.
Right?
There's no there.
It's so gross.
I feel like it's just.
I mean, I'm not saying the other parts of like, we had talked a fair amount and we have some stuff in common and he was going to maybe help me do a thing and we've been chit-chatting a bunch. But after that, now that this has been a couple of days, I've sat with it more and I've realized there were so many layers of weird to it. it shows me a certain level of unconsciousness and inconsideration that he has, that once I realized, oh, it's like he's unconscious and he's inconsiderate. I saw like 3 other points in our interactions previous where that had been illuminated as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, 2 dates and I'm out. That's pretty fucking fast. Pretty proud of myself. Like I didn't tell myself I should be nice and he didn't mean it. And why am I being so nah. Can you fucking believe that shit?
That's some brass balls. I do not know. I so can't even imagine. I can't even imagine going up to somebody if I were alone if I weren't on a date. I can't imagine doing what he did also. But that feels very pickup artisty to me.
Can I tell you a detail that might make a tiny bit more sense? He's not tall.
So he's taken some pickup artist courses.
I think he's got a little short man complex and he's like, I'm good. I'm tough. What's up? Hey, women I hit on. Because he did some shit like that too when we sat down at this event where he was like, hey, talking to everyone here. Not afraid of you. Definitely not afraid. Was like what the vibe was.
Yeah.
And I was like, ew. So I think that was some of it. It was like, speaking of proving energy. Now that's the energy of proving right there. I'm going to prove that I don't care this chick isn't interested in me. This chick is. I'm going to prove I've still got it. I'm going to prove all kinds of shit.
Yeah, just take a breath, my friend. Not you, him. Like, take a pause. Just be like, well, she's on Hinge. I can talk to her later.
Any old time. Here's another way this could have gone. He could have been like, hey, at any point in his car on the way to the thing, at dinner, after dinner, at the show, anytime. Hey, so it feels kind of like I'm getting friend vibes. Where are you at with all that? That would have been perfectly fine by me. Yeah. I would have been like, good. Thank you for bringing that up. I do feel that, but I've been a little unsure. So I'm kind of just seeing where it lands. Where are you? And we can have a grown-up ass talk. But nope.
I don't know if I'm going to theoreticalize and be like, I wonder if this would have worked. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, would it be crazy if I feel like we've gotten this friend thing and yeah, that feels like where we landed. This girl who liked me on Hinge is over there alone. Would it be wacky if I asked her to come join us? That's nuts, right? That's nuts, right? And you may have said, yeah, that's nuts. Don't do that. Or you might have gone, you know what? Fuck it. That sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
But just unilaterally walking over and being like, hey, come join my harem or whatever. Fucking what? Oh, I wasn't flirting with her? What?
That's such fucking horseshit. That's another piece that really bothers me. Like, he almost could have gotten off the hook if he had said, you know what? I am so sorry. I felt threatened. So I wanted to prove that I was still a man. And that's really some bullshit. And I apologize. That would have been I could have been maybe friends with him if he pulled that.
I wasn't flirting with her.
I just thought she looked lonely.
Yeah. Well, so was the girl right next to her who was less attractive than her.
And so was I.
Why didn't you ask her to come join?
Yeah. How about me? How about the girl you're on a date with who's lonely?
I'm lonely right now.
Fucking hell. So it was really gross, but I felt good about, I have to tell you, this might be the most direct I've ever been to with someone, except for the time. I'll tell you that in a second. I think it's just like there was no part of me filtering anything. I was like, I'm hurt and angry at you, and here's why. Your reason? Bullshit. Okay, I have to go now. Don't want to talk to you. Just clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, let him deal with his fucking shit. I don't have to caretake his ass.
Yeah.
Ugh. The other time I was going to say was one time I was on a date. I think I probably shared this on here. This was in New York with some fucking clown from some fucking app. And he talked about himself for about an hour and a half. And I got the check. And then I did tell you this, right?
I think so.
And and we had a long pause in the conversation because I decided internally, what if I just stop engaging and making this work? And what if I just sit here? Will he ever ask me anything about me? Or has he run out of shit to say about himself? So we'll just sit here literally in silence. So I stopped yes-anding him, basically. Sat there. A long time went by. Nothing, no questions for me, awkwardly picking at his plate. I could literally watch his brain be like, what else could I talk about myself? What else about my life? Nothing was coming. So at a certain point I said, so this is the part of the conversation where you ask me about me. And I smiled and was like, I'm giving you a tip and I know that's sassy. And he goes, oh, right. Well, what do you want me to ask? And I go, nope, that's not good enough. And I just sat there. I go, nope, that's not good enough. Real serious. Like, you got to figure out what to fucking ask. I'm not going to coach you on what to ask me to discover things about me. You have to want to know something about me, which you clearly don't. So I'm all set. I'll take a check.
Oh my God.
But I was pretty proud of myself. Just order that lift and get the fuck off that date.
Yeah. And you were nice to him in the moment. You didn't go, oh, you're good. And then point to her and then walk away.
Yeah, like, fuck you. I could have been a dick. Yeah, I was just like...
Right. You could have been like, are you kidding me? You know why I'm leaving. This.
Yeah, this whole scene. Well, I'm really glad you see it that way. I appreciate it. I just fucking...
I mean, I've occasionally disagreed with you on like perception of what was going on. And I've been a little more forgiving maybe sometimes, but nope. I don't know if you could... For the listener... as Katie was describing it, I was literally, my eyes were getting wider, my jaw was getting lower. Like, and that was a genuine, my response was like, what? Like, just the fact that he went over and talked to her was already like, woo, ballsy move. And I thought maybe it was me like, so look, we're unhinged together. Isn't that funny? Anyway, I'm here on a date. So maybe we'll talk later. Like, that would have been a dick move. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But wouldn't have been mind-bogglingly
right.
bold. Would have just been like, oh, you're a shitty person. That's fine. Fuck you.
Yeah, come sit over here with my other date.
And not ever acknowledge it in any way with you, even when he brought her over, right? Did he, this is Katie, you guys, we're hanging out. This is the blankets and we're all here together. Nope. So he said we. Fuck you. That's also mind-boggling. That there would be no... Did she know that you existed at that point?
I have no idea. I mean, he and I sat there for 15, 20 minutes before he ever talked to her. So she was right behind us and to the right. So I'm sure she saw us sitting together. That's another thing I said to him on the phone that I was really proud of. I was like, let me ask you a question. How do you think that woman felt? I said, well, first I said, what did you do with that woman when I left? He was like, I just watched the end of the show and then I immediately left. And I said, cool. How do you think that made her feel? To have you flirt with her, invite her to sit with you, give her a beer, and then just leave. Did you ask for her number? No. Did you say goodnight? No. Oh. So I was like, so if I were her, I'd be confused and pissed. And being me, I'm pissed. So you pissed 2 women off tonight. Great job.
Right. Because you saw us as something for your engagement and not as people that have a reality within that engagement. Yeah. Deeply narcissistic behavior.
And this idea that like I should be graceful with him and, you know, not let it ruin our whole relationship.
Give me some grace.
I'm like, it's funny because literally every time in my life I've ever done that, give him a shot. He didn't mean, be grace. Don't be so. That is when you get into worse hot water, because if your gut already knows, if you know it's fucked, and then you override that and go, but maybe I should be, that's the whole fucking thing we do, as particularly as women, but I know some men do it, that gets you dating a narcissist or an asshole, at least, or an immature man. It's just, I just don't have any time or room for any of that.
Jesus. I'm so sorry.
So that happened, which feels very clear. At least I'm not confused. The other thing I took away from it, and we started this whole conversation with me being like, I feel good about that this happened because of what I'm learning and the boundaries I get, blah, 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 was like, I knew, okay, let's just say this. I have an actual crush on a person that I've talked to you about.
Yeah.
And I am not confused about how I feel about that person on any level.
Right.
I'm just like, he's so cute and smart and funny, and I hope he likes me. And I feel like a little giddy 16-year-old girl. This person, I was like, are we? That is never a thing.
Yeah.
That never turns into, he grew on me. No. It's one thing if you're totally friends with someone and it's just friendship for a while. And then one day you see them differently
Yeah.
That's different than am I even attracted to this person? I can't tell if don't I? Nope. The answer is no. So it was good for me to like reconfirm that, I guess. I hate that, like, I mean, how many times I have to reconfirm it, but here we are.
More.
Here we are.
We learn, but we ignore our learnings, of course, because our desires override our better wisdom, because all the time.
Yeah. And I like want to be with someone and I was lonely and I want to have the cuddles, but nah.
For real. That's oof.
Yeah.
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 Ugh. Ugh.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Rami here. We were just having a conversation about stability and how you define stable. And someone said, because you can't be stable in the ocean. And I was like, well, what is stable to the ocean? Because it's got to mean something different. What stable means to the ocean has to be something that's in constant motion, right? And so then we started saying, be stable like the ocean, especially right now with these 6 planets in retrograde. And I don't know about you, but I am making no assumptions that whatever has been planned is what is going to happen, to the point where people say, oh, how long you're staying? And my first answer is, I don't know. And I have to be like, no, Rami, you do have a plan. You may as well tell them the plan. but my real answer is, I don't know, because I'm trying to be stable like the ocean. Rami's rules.
Your mood last week was dark. Mine was dark. We were both in dark moods last week. We were both dealing with a lot of retrograde shit. We were dealing with, you were having just a grump day, I would say. Just everything was pissing you off.
Yeah.
I was still coming out of my processing of the stupid show shit. And, I'm still processing it. I'm so much better off. And I'm feeling like I'm able to feel joy. And I had a moment where I heard about someone being cast in a show. Someone who I have we're not, gender, anything, race, anything. We have nothing. We're not in competition in any way. But for some reason, that triggered a thing in me where I went down the I'll never work again and I'm useless and who the hell am I moment.
It happens.
And it was embarrassing to have that feeling, because it sounds like I'm jealous, and that's an embarrassing feeling for me to have. But I chose to speak it out. I chose to interrupt the conversation. Rami and I were talking, and I just said, I just have to say out loud because it's so stupid. And I said it, and I ended up talking Rami to sleep, literally, around this subject, which was fine. We were getting into bed, and then they're falling asleep, and I was like, but I just had to keep talking. That was one of those times when talk therapy was what I needed.
Oh, good.
Because then I was able to sleep. And just speaking it out loud, going like, of course I'll work again, but no, it doesn't feel that way. Here I am, this person in this limited market, and who the hell? Nobody's interested in what I have to offer. But I just had to say it all. Fucking say it all out.
Totally.
And the same has been true now for the theater implosion story. I tell it, and when I tell it, I get teary-eyed and angry again.
Yeah.
But I'm not stuck there. So it ain't gone. It is still there. Like people, and I feel compelled to share it, and I can't just tell the short version of it. People be like, how's it going? Or someone will be like, hey, I heard about the thing. Can you tell me what happened there? And I'll be like, do you got at least 5 minutes? Because it's not here's kind of what happened. Here's the 5-minute version, and here's the 10-minute version, And I will get a little upset while I'm telling it.
Of course.
It will come up again. But that just means I took a lot of my armor off over the last 2 years.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah. So every time I tell it, it comes back up.
Well, you were invested and they kind of broke your fucking heart.
They broke my heart. And also like it broke open some visuals around misbehavior and bullshit in our whole industry. Like it ripped another veil off my eyes that says like, no, no fucking way. And like that, and that still has me angry. Like I think about like something that our buddy Carlos, MC Infinite, said.
Yeah.
He said on our podcast, he's also said versions of it, like just publicly. And he just basically said, if I'm in the room with you, we're working together and you're not going to treat me like shit and you can go fuck yourself. I'm not putting up with that anymore. You're not my boss. Or, basically said, if you're the director, great, we're working on a thing together. But no.
Right. You respect me.
And I will respect you back. But we're not putting up with any bad behavior anymore. And he basically said, I don't give a fuck. You cannot hire me. I don't give a shit. And it was like that's kind of where I'm trying to get there. I still have feelings of, well, now I'm blackballed from a theater or whatever. Not even a theater I want to work at right now. I don't give a fuck. But it is like, a loss of, that's 1/10 of the possibilities in this shitty little tiny market.
It's more like 1/250th, like 250 theaters in that area.
Not that work with equity actors.
Okay, so there's like 80.
There's like 20.
No, there's more than that. Like with guest contracts.
I'll make a list for you. It ain't
Okay.
big. It is not large.
Fine. 20 is still a lot.
Right. But the point being, whatever, doesn't matter. Just because they're one of the 20.
No, I know. I'm right. I know.
Yeah. I don't want to line up to get punched in the face.
I mean, listen, all these actors during COVID came around to the thing I would call actor friends and be like, so you're taking that job at that place. Help me understand. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be like, oh, I'm afraid if you don't, then you're going to work. And then what if and I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just, but I now, I totally had judgment of myself. I now understand. It's so about the design. Like my design is very particular and very fixed. I have a lot of definition in my chart. So like, I can't do this and this and that and this. And one of them is you don't get to treat me like shit, period. And so I just don't tolerate it. But other people aren't as fixed as I am. So they have a lot more openness. So they're like being treated like shit, but they'll take it longer because they're like, well, and it's kind of this and it's kind of, who knows? And but everybody gets there eventually. I don't want to be treated like shit. It's just I'm the cranky asshole who figures it out first because I'm just fucking fixed in my design. I'm just very like, no, yes to this, definite hard no to that. Anyway, and you're not supposed to take a fucking point of view as a fucking woman. God forbid.
Right. How dare you? Well, my design includes needing to figure out what doesn't work, but I have to try it.
Right.
So it took me a while, but I finally figured out that, oh, no, that's okay. That one doesn't work. And I'm telling people.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's the other part of it. Is like, that's the other part of my design is to find out what doesn't work so that I can tell other people that they don't need to bother.
That's right. Rock on.
And I'm actually not telling anybody you should never work there. You fucking do what you want. Even the people within my show who have now sort of, renegotiated realities with those same people. I actually have no judgment about that. I don't feel like you're wrong. I respect it. I love them. And I'm like, good. I'm glad you're able to find a space to be able to negotiate. I hope you aren't poorly treated and I hope you can make change from within, but not for me.
Yeah. Rock on.
I would probably start crying if I walked into that building.
I would fully cry. It's so toxic.
Yeah. I'd just be like, I'd see the person and I'd be like, he'd come up and start talking to me and I'd be like, nope, I thought I could be here. I can't.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, my update is simply that I'm less grumpy than I was last week, like you.
Yeah. To take also another lesson out of it, it's like the thing we do where we say, people like to do this with women will do this with each other about dates with men that are bad. Some women who haven't learned this thing yet will be like, they'll come up with a reason why the bad behavior happened, as if knowing the reason why makes it okay. It doesn't. It doesn't matter how mean your dad was to you when you were 6. That's your issue for therapy to work out. That's not a justification for me to date you.
Right. Yeah.
And I wish above all things that women who don't have that idea yet could understand you don't have to justify bad behavior and then give it another chance. There are a lot of humans on Earth, and there are some people who would even just treat you well and have good behavior.
Yeah.
If anyone on Earth should be a person believing, I better start giving bad behavior a second chance because I've been single this long. It's me. And I got no space for that.
Maybe I should put up with some more bullshit. Maybe my standards are too high.
Yeah, that line of shit. Yeah, definitely fucking not. So I'll keep you in the loop. But again, we talked about this last time. The 6'2", which is my fucking profile, is soulmate or nothing. So
Oh, you can't just fuck around.
well, also you can't a lot of people can marry someone or be with someone long term where they're like, yeah, these 4 things are good and these 3 things are shit, and that's fine. And that's, I've learned, correct for people. That's not like settling. Right. It's not lame. It's correct for certain designs. For 6'2", it's 100% resonant and good for you, perfect soulmate or nothing. And the reason I say that with such confidence is like the amount of liberation that brings to my field. It's so true. You know, it's like if you thought you were a cow your whole life and someone's like, no, you're actually a human man. You'd be like, oh my God, thank you. That's how I feel about that. It's like, that has felt like my truth since I was 6 years old. Like, I'm going to find a resonant soul person or nothing. Everything else is not going to last. I might dabble, have a fun time, but I'll know I'm headed out. And there was a lot of judgment on that because what's wrong? Why can't I just accept more? No, because it doesn't work and I can't.
It doesn't work for you. Yeah, not for you.
I feel like we should go in the records about something. What do you think about that?
Well, I was going to share, we should either go in the records or maybe just pull cards for the people or something. We definitely should do a thing. I was going to share just something that came up last night and it might be relevant. So to this idea of something.
Okay.
It was new moon. So Denise and I did a very minor woo-woo of, what is it? New moon, at least according to her, you plan, you sort of plant what you want to grow into in the next 2 weeks, right?
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then, at full moon is also when you start to release because that's when it's going to go away.
Right.
You then plan, at the full moon, you plan what you want to release for the next 2 weeks as it wanes. So I just had the thought and it was like, ooh, that's real, which is I want to start to restore my trust in the idea of hope because I lost some hope and possibility. Like I've done a lot of negative self-talk about hopelessness. And that really hit me hard when I said that. I was just like, yeah, I want to get the idea of possibility and hope back into my system.
Yeah.
Because without it, there's no motivation.
Yep. And we're talking about for theater stuff?
Talking about for theater stuff, mostly for theater stuff. There's been, politics are bullshit and fucked up and there's a lot of hopelessness there and there's a lot of loss of hope happening lately, but specifically professionally, artistically.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily it is for theater and film and whatever, and just the making of things and that being a thing I can do.
Yeah.
And I've lost a little hope. So I don't know if that leads us to anything in the records.
Well, that's an energy healing we need to do for you. That'll take more time than we have, I think. But I mean, we could do that as a thing at some point. That's like drop into the hopelessness, feel the hopelessness. Let's move the energy of the hopelessness. And then you'll find it, you'll cry and you'll process and it'll move. And then you'll be like, I feel better. And then in 3 days, you'll be like, oh my God, I had hope, but I noticed another corner where I still don't. And then we would process that and feel that and release that with the light.
Right. And that feels very personal and individual to me. So yeah. Yeah, maybe we should just do that, you and me, at some point soon.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah. But, okay, but I thought I'd share that because I thought it was kind of a cool idea.
No, it's super vulnerable and honest of you, which is you're great at that.
Look, it's what got me laid.
Oh my God.
On this podcast.
It's what got you like a relationship.
I joke about that got me laid, but it got me very deeply into an amazing, wonderful relationship with a phenomenal person.
How's all that going?
Great. I say great with a shrug only just because it is great. It's so solid and so wonderful and so integrative.
Can I ask you more questions about it?
Sure.
Like how does it work with, because I'm such a fucking monogamy monster. Like I'm an open mind to everything, but my body is like, no, which is, I have open head and a lot of definition below my neck. So there you have it.
Yeah.
So how does it work in terms of time with her husband?
We get to see each other not all the time because, just the practicality of it. So it's more like weekly or whatever, like once a week we see each other, but sometimes it's for a few days, if whatever, she comes, stays with me for a couple of days, or neither of us are busy for a few days, or we're actually about to go on a 1 week trip with a whole bunch of us.
Oh, that's delightful.
Yeah.
Is her husband going to be there?
Yeah, including him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who will she spend the nights with?
Me.
Oh, because?
Another partner of his is going.
Oh, shit. Oh, Scoop. Shaking it up.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, that's going to be a new experience, traveling extensively. I've gone on little trips with them and it was fun, but not like we're going for a week.
So let me ask you this. Is it like competition, jealousy, envy come up and you navigate it, or it doesn't come up?
Mostly doesn't come up. It might bump, like blip. It might blip bump, but it would be more like, oh, I miss you and I want to spend more time with you and I feel like I haven't gotten enough time. And it might be because of him or whatever, but and the same goes both directions, I feel like, but it's never like, so it's more like envy than jealousy, frankly. It's more like my lack is just coming from a lack of getting to see you, but not that something's being taken away or that there's a competition. Competition is, I would say, real close to zero.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it is, I mean, by far the most functional poly relationship I've navigated. Hugely so.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Like hugely so.
That's so awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It really is great. It's really wonderful. It is fantastic.
That's cool.
Like my parents, she loves my folks, we go and visit. And I don't know. I'm so like flip about I keep shrugging. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Maybe I'm a little self-conscious about being too effusive, but it's wonderful.
Huh. Does it leave you feeling like, from the poly perspective, is there a part of you that's still like, who else can I date?
That is a good question, because that is a more poly energy. It depends on the person. I know some people who are in this context who are also looking for more people, but that's a bandwidth thing. I don't understand how people have that bandwidth. I'm quite happy.
Okay.
The understanding still exists of possibility, like,
Yeah.
if flirting or something happens, or, and she went to Burning Man and if she'd have hooked up with someone, that would have been okay. We did talk about that beforehand and we're like very,
Okay.
Looked each other in the eye and talked about it. But like, yeah, it's totally fine. I might, if either of us pursued significantly another significant relationship, and like we might run up against a little more jealousy because we're both we just like being with each other. So it'd be like, I miss you.
Yeah, that's nice.
But we're not navigating. We're both pretty duogamous, I would say.
Ha!
I
like that. That's a fun word. I'm thinking of our number one listener of this podcast, and I think she has an open relationship too.
Uh-huh.
Of a sort. And so it's fun to I think what's happening in my brain is I'm just really reconciling with, I don't know, I always say this, so I feel like a broken record, but I'm just really amazed by how true human design is. When you look at my chart, it's so obvious with the emotional definition and where it's connected and where all the gates and channels I have. That is not a person dating several people at once. But man, I have such an open head. There's nothing defined above my neck. So I see why for a lot of years I was like, but I don't care. Like, I should be able to, because I don't have any judgment of it in my head. Because everything that goes through my head is like, fine, it's all just new ideas and fuck 12 people. I don't give a fuck what you do. But my body is like, oh, no. And there's not even words around it. There's no concepts attached to it. I don't have a morality thing about it. I just can't, I'm not doing that. It's like if someone says, jump into this freezing lake. Some people are like, frozen lake, yeah. And some people are like, fuck no, I'm not going in a frozen lake. That's my body about poly stuff for me.
Yeah.
So I can hear the thoughts of like, I'm thinking of Margaret's thoughts and you and Rami, and I'm thinking of like just different people I know. And I'm just like, I really have a lot of definition.
Yeah.
My design below my neck. Okay. And I guess I always marvel at what are the ways other people get to, if they care to, which I guess a lot of people really don't care to get to non-judgment. A lot of people are really into their judgments, man. But how do other people really get to real non-judgment of differences between you and another? Like, one way is you've had really loving parents and they taught you how. But another, like, how do people, you know what I mean? How do you get to not, like, for me, seeing the specificity of people's charts makes me go, oh my God, you and I am not you and you are not me. And I would never open my mouth to suggest you should be industrious about this thing because your design says you're not an industrious person. And that would be a total judgmental projection.
I do appreciate that about human design. The concept of not self themes is really useful.
Yeah.
That idea. It's not just what you were designed for, but what it looks like when you are not in alignment. That almost more helpful than knowing what you're built for. It's like what you're not built for is really useful because you can go, right. It lets you off the hook on a lot of shit.
Exactly.
Your own hook. It lets you off your hook.
Yeah. And when you get deeper into the gates and channels that you have, holy shit. You're like, how is there a channel called that very specific thing to me? Like that very Katie Rubin issue I have. How did he know?
My only complete, fully just black channel, not black and red, but my only fully complete black channel, the channel of charisma. It's so weird, but that's my only one. I have no other channels.
Amazing.
I have the most empty chart.
And you're a triple Gemini, so that's very charismatic.
Yeah. And I don't mean that like, yeah, I'm a really charismatic person, but no, that's where I operate from.
No, I know. Yeah. It's just who you are. It's how you're made up.
Yeah.
And you're triple fucking Gemini, which would be a very charismatic person.
Right. God damn it. I don't want these things to be so true. You know me and my resistance to all this stuff, but it's fucking great.
It's amazing stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't think we have time for the records now.
No, we don't. We talked about hope and charisma and design.
Well, listen, if you want to get into a whole energy healing next time, we'll just need to start the records sooner and we'll be doing a big, deep healing and you'll be crying a lot. So just prepare for that and let me know ahead of time so we make a plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think next week we may have my sister on.
Oh, next week's going to be really challenging. So we might have to let you and I talk.
Oh, fuck. All right.
I will literally be on the road the entire week.
Dumb. Oh, what if we have Denise back on?
Denise has never been on.
What if we have Denise on for the first time?
I'll ask her.
Let's do that.
If she wants. Okay.
That'd be easier, right?
I'll ask her. She may or may not want to do it. Oh, you mean while I'm on the road?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how I'll do it. Yeah, it's fine. I'll figure it out. We're going to be in cars in like shitty hotel rooms.
Hotels have Zoom.
Wi-Fi is, we'll see.
Okay, we'll see if it works. I love you.
I love you. You, Katie, do your work. And by your work, I mean improvise.
Thanks, boo.
I'm really excited for you. I just want to return to that. Maybe I'm jealous also. What? Wait. Yeah, a little bit. A little envious.
I love you.
Envy. Oh my God.
I stopped recording before your apology. That's so dumb. Or no, your acknowledgement, whatever that was.
It's on the Zoom, so maybe he'll get it.
Okay. Anyway, thank you, and I love you.
All right, we'll see you soon. Love you to pieces.
I love you too. Let's try to get Denise on.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do our work.
Okay, you do your work. Bye.
What are you asking for? All of the answers? Say what? All of the answers? Yeah, all the answers.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us with your questions so that we have questions to answer in the Akashic Records. Our email address is allanswerspod@gmail.com. That's allanswerspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find us on Facebook or Twitter, it's @allanswerspod, @allanswerspod. Thank you.
Okay, I can't hear you. So I think let me set this up and then I'll answer that. I think you're asking about the...
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.